Welcome back to the Silicon Valley Hackathon, everyone. I am your lead dev for this explainer, and today we are locking onto a highly specific target mainframe, the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic Language 8680 exam. Specifically, we're cracking paper 4, 3 questions on different texts. Now look, I know what you might be thinking. Arabic literature, it's all about deep artistic appreciation, cultural nuance, the beauty of the language, right? And yes, absolutely it is. But the way you actually structure your answers to capture those top-tier marks, that is pure, systematic logic. It's an algorithm. If you've ever found yourself totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of text or the multi-part complexity of these exam questions, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to treat this essay like code. So let's boot up the terminal and crack the code to those top marks.
To really grasp the stakes of today's hackathon, we've got to look at a direct quote from a senior examiner. They put it pretty bluntly, stating, "The difference between a B and an A-star in Arabic language often comes down to how well you understand paper 4. I mean, wow, that's not just another paper. It's literally the final firewall standing between you and that top grade. Because here's the thing, what the examiners are scanning for isn't just your raw Arabic vocabulary or basic reading comprehension. They are hunting for highly specific analytical protocols. If you don't fully get the structural requirements of paper 4, honestly, no matter how beautifully poetic your Arabic is, your grade is just going to hit a hard ceiling."
Let me show you exactly what I mean by looking at two archetypical coders, or, well, students, trying to bypass this examiner barrier. Over on the left, we've got Dev Alex. Now, Alex knows these Arabic texts inside and out. Flawless memory, seriously. But Alex suffers from massive data dumps. They just translate or summarize the text right there on the page without actually processing or analyzing the deeper literary meaning. That causes a huge memory leak. Then on the right, we have Dev Sam. Sam is amazing at setting up logical loops and structuring a really solid argument, but they constantly fail on syntax precision. What does that mean? It means they miss the correct Arabic literary terminology. And guess what? Neither of these approaches is going to clear the examiner firewall. Having incredible data but terrible analysis, or brilliant logic but the wrong terminology, both result in a total system crash. We absolutely have to optimize both sides of this equation.
So what's the actual core architecture we need to build here? Well, the Cambridge syllabus explicitly targets 3 distinct cognitive domains. You can think of these as your CPU's core processing threads: knowledge and understanding, analysis, and evaluation. To succeed, you have to demonstrate competence across all 3 of these domains at the exact same time. The system demands that you construct a deeply connected conceptual understanding of the Arabic texts. And here is the real kicker. You aren't just memorizing essays beforehand. No way. You are learning how to apply this cognitive framework on the fly, adapting to whatever specific angle the examiner decides to throw at your prepared texts. You have to compile your analysis in real time.
Okay, let's jump into our procedural framework and see how we can build this into an actionable step-by-step algorithm. When you're sitting there tackling an examination question on paper 4, you've got to follow a highly standardized sequence. First up, deconstruct. You tear the question apart to identify the key variables. Like, are they asking about the theme of exile, or is it about character identity? Second, extract. Pull the relevant data, those specific high-value quotes, straight out of the stimulus materials. Third, execute. You select your analytical framework and run it, using clear notation and the appropriate formats. And finally, verify. Check your output to ensure it actually directly answers the prompt. In these complex exam problems, you're literally awarded marks for demonstrating this systematic process itself. Process optimization directly equals marks.
Wait, system halt for just a second. Before we execute this strategy to secure those maximum marks and completely debug our essay structures, you need to make sure your own system feed is optimized. So hit subscribe over at Ace the Exams for our weekly strategic updates. You definitely want to ensure your exam prep is continuously patched with our latest insights. Okay, feed optimized? Awesome. Let's resume the compile and take a look at what actually crashes most students' essays when they finally sit down to write.
Let's pull up the crash logs. These are the exact fatal errors flagged directly in the principal examiner reports. We've got 3 major system bugs that will consistently tank your score in paper 4. Bug number 1, vague details. Examiners absolutely hate generalities. They want specific, hard-coded details. Just saying an Arabic poem is sad instead of analyzing the specific diction of sorrow, yeah, that's going to cost you. Bug number 2, formatting errors. Students just straight up forget to structure their required formats correctly. And bug number 3, lacking context. This is when answers are generated in a total vacuum. If you write your analysis without referencing the specific historical or literary context of the stimulus, like, say, the socio-political background of a modern Arabic short story, your entire argument just gets rejected by the server.
All right, so how do we fix this? To debug those vague arguments and that missing context, we are deploying an instant system patch right now. It's called the PEEL syntax structure. PEEL stands for point, evidence, explanation, and link. Whenever you write an extended response, you literally must force this syntax. Let's run a rapid 10-second test. First, make your point crystal clear. The author uses nature to reflect the protagonist's inner turmoil. Next, provide specific evidence. Quote the exact Arabic phrase from the text. Then offer an explanation that analyzes that evidence. You need to explain exactly how those specific words create a sense of profound isolation. And finally, link it back. Tie the whole thing directly to the overarching theme of the exam prompt. It's a remarkably simple logical loop, but it forces precision and relevance every single time you build a paragraph.
Okay, it's time for the interactive beta testing arena. I am going to run a sample response past you, and I want you to audit this student's text block in real time. Imagine a student correctly identifies a theme in an Arabic poem. Perfect. They provide an accurate Arabic quote as their evidence. Great. They even give a general summary of what the author actually meant. But they use completely colloquial everyday language to describe the poet's profound sorrow and their literary techniques. So run your scan right now. Look closely at that structure. Where is the fatal logic error here? Where exactly does this response fail the Cambridge system standards for paper 4?
Did you catch it? Here is the fatal error revealed. Major examiner alert. The principal examiner reports show that candidates consistently confuse key terminology or just fail to use it altogether. You simply cannot use everyday language to describe complex literary concepts in this exam. Instead of just saying the author paints a sad picture, you have to deploy the correct Arabic literary terminology. You need to define their specific use of majaz for metaphor or kinaya for allusion. If you just throw around basic, everyday terms or use the wrong syntax entirely, your extended response is going to break down. Precision in your terminology is quite literally the only way the examiner system can compile your answer correctly and award you those top marks.
So the really crucial point here is how we pull all of this together into a wider problem-solving loop for higher-order assessment. That PEEL paragraph we just talked about, that's your micro-level execution. But the macro-level loop comes down to 3 main commands: deconstruct, solve, and evaluate. First, you identify the given information and break it into logical steps. That's your deconstruction phase. Next, you solve systematically, structuring your core argument. And finally, you evaluate. This is where you make justified, high-level literary interpretations based entirely on your analysis. Mastering this continuous loop is exactly what elevates your response from just a basic translation of an Arabic text into a high-level, A-star analytical protocol. To truly master that higher-order assessment, we need to examine our ultimate cheat sheet architecture. This basically maps out your grading tiers. The Cambridge framework comprises 3 distinct levels: descriptive, analytical, and evaluative. Descriptive is just stating what happens in the story. It's the lowest tier, and honestly, it's going to earn you a C at best. Analytical is explaining how and why it is there, breaking down that majaz or metaphor we mentioned. That pushes you safely into the B range. But evaluative, that is the highest tier. That's A-star territory. This tier demands the actual evaluation of alternatives. It means comparing 2 different characters' perspectives or evaluating the overarching effectiveness of a specific poetic structure. Your text string cannot just describe what's happening, it absolutely must evaluate. Code deployed! You now officially have the algorithm to hack the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic Paper 4. Remember, master those cognitive domains, systematically run the procedural framework, debug your paragraphs with the PEEL patch, and always elevate your writing to that evaluative tier. Before you log off the terminal today, be sure to subscribe to Ace the Exams for more strategic breakdowns and drop a comment below with your specific subject and level. I'm going to leave you with this final prompt to process in your own runtime. The next time you sit down to analyze an Arabic text, are you just translating the raw data on the page, or are you executing a high-level evaluation that proves you truly understand the author's underlying code? Optimize your strategy, keep practicing, and I will see you in the next explainer.